The big news this month is that I basically read everything on my TBR except for one book, which I am pretty impressed with, and I'm actually going into November with that book 56% of the way done. So let's see what I did manage to read this month. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel at least twice a week, but you are getting 3 videos this week, which is why I say at least. Actually coming true this week. And then I make movie reviews or book to movie content here at the weekend. Today I am going to be bringing you my October wrap up, everything I read in the month of October. It's a little bit later this month, but that is because I had an exciting live video. I will leave that live interview linked up above in case you missed it. It was very, very fun. I also have all of my social links in the description box below, including my blog and my Goodreads, where I have reviewed most of these books. I am ever so slightly behind on reviews, so there's a couple that I haven't, and I have whole videos talking about some of these books as well, so I will be linking you to some of those. So yes, I read just about everything on my October TBR this month, apart from one which I am part way through. The weekend just kind of got away with me. Don't you hate when the end of the month's on a weekend? I feel like when it's a weekday there's more chance of getting your reading goals completely finished. Maybe that's just me. So the first book I read in the month of October, I always go through these as ebooks, physical books and audiobooks, and I do have something in each category this month. Monumental. Audiobooks still my biggest category, but that's just me. That's how I read, and if you've been following for a while now, you will know that. So the first book I read was actually a buddy read with Beautifully Bookish Bethany. This is, I believe, the UK cover of Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. This is adult romance featuring a wonderful fat heroine who is just fabulous, and I absolutely fell in love with Olivia Dade's writing reading this. Bethany and I read One to Watch, and we were hoping that it would be the fat, body positive heroine novel that we were looking for, but it wasn't. But I think this actually was. But I just really, really love Olivia Dade's writing. The dialogue was interesting, but I really love her descriptions, particularly her descriptions of our main character. Just the way she describes her skin is just so sexy. So if you are looking for a body positive romance novel with some sexy scenes in, then this one could be one for you. And then the next 3 ebooks that I read, I have a whole vlog talking about them, so I will leave it linked up above because I go into more detail about what I thought about these novels. These are all adult fiction and all came out in the UK on the same day. So we have Because of You by Dawn French, which everyone reading it ahead of time was saying, oh, this is so not what I expected. And then I read it and I said to you guys, this is so not what I expected. But you can see me crying over this novel in that particular vlog. And then also in that vlog, I read One Family Christmas by Bella Osborne, which is one of those books that I read and said this would just make an amazing movie. I talk a lot more about it in that vlog, so go ahead and watch that. But if you are looking for a book to add to your Christmas reading list in December, the order link will be in the description box below because it was fabulous and I need it to be made into a hilarious British Christmas comedy film now, please. Has to be British. It's a super British one. I don't think it would work as an American movie. It has to be British. Like, it would work over here, like you would enjoy it, but it has to have that, it's got that like British humor thing, like how Love Actually wouldn't work if it was just American. And then I also in that vlog read Ghost by Dolly Alderton, which I absolutely loved. This is adult general fiction, and Ghost has 2 different meanings. I have a full review of all 3 of those on my blog and on Goodreads, so you can go there if you're looking for a written review, but if you are looking for my initial thoughts, I will tell you more in that vlog. And then speaking of ebooks I read, I don't know why I put these in the ebook section because I actually listened to them on audiobook, but I bought them through, well, I didn't buy them, I borrowed them through Prime Reading on Amazon because these are the Amazon original short stories, essays from Mindy Kaling. I really enjoyed listening to Mindy Kaling's previous books, so I was quite excited when she came out with this collection, and it was almost like podcast episodes but 6 books in a series, so it almost amassed to an entire book. So the collection is called the Nothing Like I Imagined collection, and I borrowed them on Prime Reading, and then because I'm also an Audible member, I could just click to add the audiobook and it didn't cost me anything, so that was quite cool. If you're not already a Prime member, I do have a link in the description box. But these include Please Like Me But Keep Away, Help Is on the Way, Big Shot, Kind of Hindu, Searching for Coach Taylor, and Once Upon a Time in Silver Lake, which heavily features BJ Novak, which is fun. But these are essays where she just basically shares the latest chapters of her multitasking life in Hollywood, and I listened to them. But the reason I'm not talking about them in more detail here is because I have an upcoming video where I kind of vlogged when I was listening to them, and I'm going to be bringing you like a mini review of each of the episodes if you just fancy trying one out. So once that video is live, I will leave it linked above, or it'll be linked in the end screen, but it's coming up next week, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that one. And then I think I've just got one more ebook to tell you about. There's my list. I also, yes, read the final book in the Brightwater Bay series by Holly Hepburn, Sunset Over Brightwater Bay, and we've all been waiting for this one for a while. So this is one novel that's released in 4 serialized parts, and each part takes about an hour and 45/2 hours to read, so you can sit down and read it in 1 or 2 sittings, but then you have to wait for the next one to be released. And I always love Holly Hepburn's like releases that are done like this, but then I always kick myself because I want to read the next one straight away. These have been released all year long, and we finally got the last installment, and I just am always desperate to be on Orkney, hanging out with Mary and like going on her adventures, particularly going for a little tour of Highland Park. Ironically, I literally just got an email from Highland Park, because obviously like I'm a member with them, I like a whiskey, saying that their like distillery tours and tastings were open again, and I'm like, no, I read the book and I really want to go and I can't. So yeah, if you want to escape the world right now and travel to Orkney, all 4 parts are out. I will leave them all in the description box below, and we finally get to find out what direction Mary takes her professional life and her love life in this one. I just love this series, and the descriptions of Orkney are just so wonderful. You feel like you've been there by the time you've read the book. Okay, on to physical books. Yes, there are some physical books this month. Amazing! I have a grand total of 2 to talk about. So fun. I read When I Come Home Again by Caroline Scott, and I read this over the 24-hour Dewey's 24-hour readathon, so I do have a reading vlog for this one. I will leave it linked up above, but this is historical fiction. A soldier is found and he has very selective amnesia, and we have 3 women who claim him as their brother, their son and their husband, and he's in a hospital being helped to try and remember things. He keeps drawing this mysterious woman. That woman could be any of these 3 women, but who is it? It's all very like mysterious, and we focus a lot on relationships and what relationships mean to people. So we get the relationships of the people who work in the hospital, as well as our main character and his 3 possible other relationships, or if this mysterious woman is somebody completely different, that relationship. And I really like that aspect of it. Unfortunately, I did find the ending just a little bit disappointing. I think if the book had been shorter, I wouldn't have been quite as disappointed in the ending. If you've been following for a while, you know I'm I'm a little bit not intimidated, but like I don't tend to read super, super long books. There are people that do that, and that's just not me. You know, I've talked about several short books here on this video so far, so I think if it had been shorter I wouldn't have been as disappointed in the ending, but because I'd invested nearly 500 pages and then the ending was just a little bit like, oh, okay then, I was a little bit disappointed. So if you like a bit of historical fiction, if you like a bit of a who's that man mystery stuff set just after World War I, then this one will be for you, but it definitely is on the long side. But you can watch my whole vlog of me reading the entire thing so you get the full perspective, and I do also have a written review on my blog and Goodreads, which, as I say, is linked down below. Then I read a graphic novel. I always try and kind of put graphic novels on my TBR and then never seem to get around to reading them these days. I will try and read some more before the year is out. Having said that, I haven't got any on my November TBR. Maybe I need to find a graphic memoir since it's non-fiction November. But this one was recommended to me at a library book party, and I immediately put a hold on it after that book party and borrowed it from the library. So this is Meal by Blue, Delliquanti and Soleil. And Soleil is a chef turned podcaster, and so it was really interesting having their kind of culinary expertise throughout this graphic novel. And basically Yarrow is a young chef determined to make her mark on the cutting edge of cookery with her insect-based creations, but her evangelism of insect cuisine rubs some of her fellow chefs the wrong way, particularly Chanda. Her people have been eating bugs for centuries, and she's deeply suspicious of Yarrow's goal to turn their traditions into the big foodie trend. Can Yarrow win over Chanda and Milani, the neighbour she's been crushing on for weeks? So we've got a little bit of kind of like coming of age type of thing in here, but this does include recipes. There's an essay from the author, and it was really interesting. It's not something I've ever looked into before. It's not something I've ever delved into, the world of eating insects. The closest I've come is watching it on I'm a Celebrity / having tried snails. They're not insects, I know, but you know, you find them in the same place. But yeah, it was really interesting, and I really like the kind of like really pushing for your goals, whether those are personal or professional, and the artwork in it is fantastic too. Look at that. Look at that. So yeah, there are my two physical books. And then the 24-hour reading vlog that I spoke of, I also listened to Them All by McCafferty, which McCafferty, I keep saying McCafferty, which I also got from the library. I went in to pick up my hold of this one, and you were actually able to go in and browse the library again with social distancing and masks, and they had the whole like little hand sanitizer sprays to give you and everything. I loved it, and it was nice just to be able to go and like pick something off the shelf and go, oh, that looks fun. I've seen people talking about this. This one was very much like, you know, that episode of Saved by the Bell where they go and work in the mall and there's a bit of drama and a bit of romance, and it wasn't anything like super special, but it was easy listening to and perfect for reading during that 24-hour readathon. I don't think I talked a whole lot about it because it was just a little bit unremarkable. I think that's why I haven't written my written review for this one yet, because it was like, you know, it was a 3-star read. The audiobook was pretty good. The story was interesting, but it didn't blow my mind. And I wasn't like, oh, I have to get back to that. It was just like, okay, it's on. I'm listening to it. This is happening now. So yeah, it was, like I say, definite rating on Goodreads was 3 stars because it was just like, oh, it was nice. There wasn't anything wrong with it, but yeah, didn't blow me away. And then another audiobook that I got from the library book party that was recommended was Buttermilk Graffiti by Edward Lee. And I didn't realise when they were talking, I don't know if I wasn't listening properly, but when they were talking about it at the book party, I didn't realise that this was non-fiction. And it's a chef's journey to discover America's new melting pot cuisine. So this is non-fiction and comes with a care warning not to read or listen whilst hungry. I did a combination of the physical book and the audiobook because the physical book has some recipes in it, and also I really like the like beginning of chapter art in the book as well, but it's really interesting because he talks about his own like heritage and what he brings to food from his past and his upbringing, and then he talks about the fact that, you know, he's a chef and where he started out, and then he looks into the specialities for each place. And that is something that Ollie and I like to do when we travel, is find the like special dish of that particular area. So like when we went to Rhode Island, we had calamari and, you know, just generally ate lots of seafood. When we were driving through Cincinnati, I looked up the kind of food for the area and found that this like chili with spaghetti that's got cinnamon in it, and I then tried making that at home as well. FYI, pumpkin pie spice works in chili. You can make pumpkin spice chili because it's basically got cinnamon and nutmeg and what have you in. So yeah, this was really definitely up my alley because of the way that we like to eat when we travel, and was just generally interesting. And I didn't want to wait until November to read this one. There are a couple of books I kind of put off reading until November for non-fiction November, but this one I knew that I actually know people that are waiting on this one at the library, so I need to return it. But yeah, I did a combination of audio and physical book for this one, so that was interesting. And then another kind of combo audiobook physical book, I believe I also talk about reading this one, but we're at 16 minutes already. Yes, I believe I also talk about reading this one in that reading vlog where I'm reading all the NetGalley books, but I listened to the audiobook of Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, their like third compilation book, and this is 100 Immigrant Women Who Changed the World. My library didn't have this ready to put on hold, so I suggested that they buy it. They bought it and put me on the hold list because I now want to go back. Look at those end pages. I now want to go back and read through some of the books, the stories that I listened to, because part of the joy for me with Rebel Girls books is the artwork. And so I want to go through and read some stories again and also look at the artwork because it's just beautiful. They're always so fabulous. I'm sorry, I'm now sat here just kind of flicking through, but it's interesting because it's a mixture of people who have excelled in different areas. We've got people who've excelled in like science and technology. We've got athletes in here, we've got actresses in here, we've got artists and writers in here, and so I really do think that they have a good balance of different people in here. I had no idea that Liz Claiborne was an immigrant. I have some of her cardigans and I had no idea that she was. And we've got other fashion designers in here that I didn't realize were immigrant women, and so I really enjoyed that, especially reading it as an immigrant myself. There we go. And I mean, who doesn't love the gorgeous yellow color? You have to have the physical book. So that's another physical book audiobook combo. The audio was good, and I think if it was me listening at home in my bedroom the way I did growing up, listening to audiobooks on my tape player, my Fisher-Price tape player, then I would definitely enjoy that, but I think that for me right now, I need to see the physical book because part of the joy of the Rebel Girls books for me is the artwork, and they have all the artists listed at the back as well, which is very cool. Then a few book to movie adaptations I read in the month of October, so I will have book versus movie videos talking about these in a lot more detail. I read Our Chemical Hearts by Krystal Sutherland. I didn't particularly get on very well with the book, and the movie was also a little bit of a letdown, so spoiler alert for that video, but I'll leave the video linked up above. And then similarly, I read Words on Bathroom Walls by Julia Walton, having watched the movie beforehand. So I did this one the other way round to what I normally do, but I asked you guys if you would like to see a kind of afterwards book versus movie, and you said yes. So I read this one, I did this one on audio, and I did definitely prefer the book to the film, but I have a whole video discussing that one, so I'll leave it linked here or on the end screen, wherever we've got room left. And then another book versus movie I did was How to Build a Girl by Catelyn Moran. No, I'm not speaking to you, Siri. How to Build a Girl by Catelyn Moran, which I loved doing this reread. I did the audiobook for this one when it first came out, but it's been a while since I read it, and I've read the sequel to it, How to Be Famous, and so it was so wonderful going back. I feel like I picked up on lots of little Easter eggs that I didn't pick up on the first time, and then I watched the film and I made a book versus movie video for you, linked, end screen, wherever we've still got room. So many book versus movie videos this month. And then, you know, the final book versus movie, we have Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and I talk about the fact that I am not normally a classics reader. However, I really did enjoy reading this one, and then I talk about comparisons with the movie in that video for you, so you can go away and watch that for my full thoughts. Then I managed to sneak in a little bit of poetry, and I actually did this poetry on audio, which is always interesting. I do find listening to some form of poetry kind of before bed, in that wind down to going to sleep, is really, really soothing and calming. I think that when I'm reading it physically as a physical book, I prefer to do that during the daytime, but listening to it, I like to do it before bed, something I've discovered recently. I listened to The Truth About Magic by Atticus. I believe Atticus is a poet over on Instagram, and my friend Jenna introduced me to their poetry, so I picked this one up because it was on audio, and I would like to pick up some more of their poems just to see what I think. It was kind of everything you would expect it to be based on the synopsis. I enjoyed it. I might see if I can get the physical book from the library or from my secondhand bookstore to kind of pick up, and you know, I like to tab my poetry books, but that will be done during the day. And then I listened to Twas the Nightshift Before Christmas by Adam Kay, which is his follow-up to Oh, This Is Going to Hurt. This is just stories from his like Christmas / New Year type shifts, so it does have a festive theme to it, and a couple of these were intentionally left out of his original book because they were either just, you know, took up too much room because they were just like a Christmas, like, oh, this was a funny story, or because they were quite gory and bloody and not the most pleasant, and there were already a few stories like that in the book. So this is non-fiction. It's read by, I believe it's read by the author. I feel like it's read by the author. I should check that. But I don't know. I feel like this was kind of rushed to get out for Christmas last year. I bought the Kindle book, but then I was able to get the audiobook from my library eventually. It was one of those where I bought the Kindle, but it wasn't like linked that I could add the Audible onto it, which is always annoying. But yeah, I don't know if it was rushed out too quickly for Christmas, and so there wasn't a lot of like time put into. It's very short, and it was interesting, but I really don't feel like I got kind of value for money with it compared to the previous book. The previous book I also did on audio, and I thought it was very, very good, and obviously became a massive bestseller. And then I read the quick reads, which is just over here, which was like an abbreviated version. It was nice going back to that quick reads, but this felt like a very similar length to the quick reads version, and yet it was a full price book, an audio book, and the quick reads version was £1 or 99p if you were doing the Kindle version. So yeah, it was good and I enjoyed it, but I wanted more. I feel like it didn't give me good value as a book that I was reading or listening to. And then also in that reading vlog that I mentioned right at the beginning, I listened to Pumpkin Everything by Beth Labonte, and I did this as a buddy read. So we started off with a buddy read and we're ending with a buddy read with my lovely friend Hayley. We listened to this together. This is small town romance. This is just sweet and lovely, and kind of the past catching up with you and going from big city to small town. But instead of being Christmas, it's autumn and it's pumpkin spice, and you know I love some pumpkin spice. So I really enjoyed this one. If you're looking for something cozy and escapist adult romance to read right now, it's not too heavy on the sex. It's kind of everything you expect it to be, but the writing's decent. It's not like it's one of those that's like, oh, this was put out in a rush, or this wasn't well edited. It's a decent story. It's cozy. It's feel good. It's lovely. And it's fall themed. So there we have it. That is my October wrap up. Lots of videos to tie into it this month, which is quite cool. So I hope you do go away and watch those videos. What is the best book that you read in the month of October? I think mine would definitely be The Dawn French, and I suggest you go and watch my vlog if you haven't already, because I do properly sob over that book. Make sure you are subscribed so that you don't miss out on my future bookish videos or my movie review that is coming at you this weekend. It's a controversial one. Hit that notification bell to be notified when I post that Mindy Kaling review for you. I will be back with that movie review for you on Sunday. Bookish content next week. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you then. Thanks for watching.